Hey Reddit.
People who saved themselves for marriage and eventually got divorced. What was your approach towards sex after the divorce?
Only legends are subscribed, so you must be subscribed.
This was my wife. We've been divorced for 3 years and I'm pretty sure she hasn't had sex since, and won't until she gets married again. So she's apparently been true to her principles.
A teacher at the school I went to was in her mid-50s. Very Catholic. She was saving herself and still is until marriage. She has never been married.
One of my lifelong friends comes from an extremely Christian family. All 3 kids were taught how bad sex before marriage is. 2 of the 3 ended up with children out of wedlock. My close friend of these siblings, saved herself but ended up rushing into marriage with very little self-awareness and found herself in a completely sexually and otherwise incompatible marriage. All 3 are divorced at least once now. One has more baby mamas than I can keep track of. After my friend's divorce, she abandoned the no sex before marriage business. She didn't have any wild escapades but developed strong sexual and otherwise chemistry with her now husband. Her parents still tried to shame them. It was a clusterfuck to watch over the years.
Whenever a story starts with extreme insert religion family, you know it's going to be pretty whack.
My auntie is super religious, but inadvertently pushed away her eldest daughter to drugs. Dysfunctional religious families are the worst. I say dysfunctional because a friend told me of her childhood friend whose family was interesting. The family had their own religion that would meet up once a week in the basement. The friend's mum didn't like that and assumed they were a cult and told her they couldn't be friends anymore.
This doesn't apply to me. But I do have a friend who is in this boat. His approach has been to swear off relationships and be celibate for the rest of his life.
Well, that's one way to handle it, I guess.
That was literally me until I cried every time I masturbated BC of how lonely I was.
Mom didn't have sex for 8 years after getting divorced. She's a devoted Christian for sure. Unfortunately, she got drunk and ruined her 8-year streak. Got it on with my boyfriend's dad, Sigh HHH.
Are you going to be dating your stepbro here soon?
She got in on with WHO.
I knew a girl that was very hands-off prior to marriage. I never really thought too much about it until I went to her wedding, and before they kissed the pastor made the announcement that this will be their first kiss, and I was blown away that they have never kissed before. But after their "you may now kiss the bride" kiss, it was obviously their first kiss. The rest of the wedding and reception went well enough and I heard nothing from them for a few months until someone told me they are getting a divorce. Less than 6 months later. I have a few theories on why. I think the bride is asexual and either never realized it or did not reveal that prior to getting married. She got a bunch of tattoos after the divorce. Full chest ink, sleeves, but I never heard of her dating after. But we're not close.
I used to think I was asexual when it came to being in a relationship with guys. When it came to get fickle, it's like something would just turn off in my head. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was shyness. Turns out I was just really gay.
One of my best friends is getting married next year to a girl he's been with for something like 10 years. He said he can count on one hand how many times they've had sex in that time frame. I don't know if they're both asexual and just want life partners or what the deal is, but it caught me off guard for sure.
In our conservative Lebanese society, after the first divorce, you get a free pass actually. Some people would talk about you, but a lot of conservative people would just tell them she's divorced. She can do what she wants.
From what I've been told, my GF Greek culture is very similar. You get a black mark which can be seen as bad, or completely liberating.
Wow, I am Syrian and it's weird how different it's here. For us, you just go back to what you did before marriage, like yes you can date, but sex is definitely still a taboo and honestly kinda hard because most divorced women go back to living with their parents. And the gossip and shaming is just too much.
Good question. I'm an ex-Mormon and was a virgin when I got married at 21. Was married for over 6 years, had a good, active sex life. And when I got divorced 2 years back, it was a strange new world. I was excited to have sex with new people, but I quickly found after a handful of hookups that it wasn't always that great. There were some exceptions obviously. But I often find that people who haven't been in long-term relationships are pretty lousy in bed. Having a bunch of one-night stands doesn't make you better at fucking IMO. Getting to know someone's body and experimenting does. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't have saved myself for marriage. The best sex I've had has been after my divorce. I have a general rule now that I won't have sex on the first date. I like having more of an emotional connection with the other person. It's more enjoyable that way for me.
This, so much. My ex would be so proud of how many women he'd slept with in his life. But that didn't make him great at sex. His style was of someone who had slept around a lot, but never really got to know a woman's body intimately. The guy I'm dating now. Huge difference in the way he holds and touches me. Even the way he kisses. You can tell he has learned how to take care of a woman.
Mormon convert here. So kind of the opposite. I had sex with a few people, joined the church, and married a virgin. Great sex usually takes practice with each new partner. Everyone has different preferences and sensitivities, so you can't just be good at sex by having a lot of it with different people. Beyond a basic understanding of how human bodies work, it takes communication to have really good sex. And that's hard to achieve when you're not completely comfortable with someone.